Welcome to Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money.
Hello and welcome to Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money with Edward D. Johnson III, the founding attorney at Edward Johnson Associates PC. I am your host, Kevin Rosenquist, and today's episode is Locked and Loaded, Navigating the New Illinois Gun Licensing Laws. Edward, welcome back.
Thanks, Kevin. Good to be here.
Can you just start by explaining the recent changes to gun licensing laws and how they impact the concealed carry licenses or CCLs in Illinois?
The new laws kind of made it a little bit more difficult with gun transfers and CCLs. And if you don't know what a CCL, it's another license compared to the FOID card, which is another license you need to get. So the first one is the FOID card. You need a FOID card. You go online. If you're in Illinois, it costs you $12. You fill out a little form and it takes a little bit. Then they send you a FOID card. You can go buy a gun. And then after you buy a gun, you can't carry it around with you yet. You got to actually get a concealed carry license, which is the CCL. You got to take a class. It's like a Saturday and a Sunday. Pay another $185 for that permit. Use the same portal. Then you get the license. Then after that, you have a gun. You can carry it. It's fine. But then if you transfer it to anyone else, now they're requiring you to run a background check on the person, even if it's a private sale. And that's where people can get hung up.
Yeah, that's a tricky thing, trying to run a background check on somebody.
Yeah, it really raises a lot of questions about how that works. I mean, you're out in Colorado, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a whole different ballgame out there. You can go to a gun show and get a gun, I think, that same day.
Yeah, it is definitely different here. And I actually, at one point, worked for a company out here that did background checks. And not for guns, we did like more employment checks. But like there's all sorts of Fair Credit Reporting Act rules, and there's a lot of stuff going on. So I don't even know how you would do it as a private private person sale.
It's risky, and you could be criminally prosecuted if you don't do it, and you find out that person doesn't, go through those. Even if it's somebody in your family, and you're just trying to gift them a shotgun or any sort of weapon. But in Illinois too, they also are limiting, the types of weapons you can have within different counties and the size of the magazines. And so you really need to be careful when you're getting into the assault rifles or any other type of large magazine or any sort of automatic switch, which is an accessory that can allow the gun to continue firing. Mm-hmm. So that limits a lot of the options for what people are buying, even if it's a collector's item or some sort of thing you're going to use on a different trip. You got to be careful.
We talked about this. I used to live in Chicago, and I remember when the concealed carry thing became a law or a ban was allowed, a lot of people put little stickers on their businesses and stuff with the gun, with the line through it, basically saying they don't want guns in there. Does that mean someone with a concealed carry cannot go in there with a gun?
Right. Yep.
Even if absolutely. They have the license and all that?
You can't go in there. You can't smoke. It's the same kind of...
Same thing.
Yeah. And if you're caught, that you're going to get charged. They're going to take your gun. You probably won't get it back. That's what everyone gets really mad about. You have something you're really attached to getting taken away, and then they destroy it anyway.
What are some of the significant challenges that people face when they're applying for the CCL, given the current legal landscape?
Well, people are being racially discriminated against. There used to be this gang database that they say doesn't exist anymore, which we can't believe that they would even say that. But there was the Illinois State Police that run the main background checks in Illinois. They have a gang database that the lawyers don't even have access to, and you can't pull people's names out of it. So if a police officer pulled someone in and thought you were with some other people and put you in there, and you're not even in a gang, or you were like 15 or 18, then you try to get the CCL, go fill it all out. You're waiting, boom, you get a denial. Then it opens a whole can of worms.
Wow. So you're basically almost saying that once you're in that database that they're saying doesn't exist anymore, you can't get out of it.
Can't get out of it. Can't get the gun license. It's completely unconstitutional. They need to shut it down or allow a little bit of a better appeal process. But you just see these things happening, and it's unreal. And you never know what's going to happen when you get that appeal. And if anyone gets the denial and you want to file an appeal, the best thing to do is to contact our office. We can help them with it. There's certain things you can do, like expunge certain records or write in and have other people validate your background, which is a new thing that they started doing, where other FOID card CCL people can say that they kind of vouch for you in an affidavit. So there are some options, but if you're ever convicted of anything, you're not getting a CCL. You could probably still get a FOID as long as it was not a felony.
When it comes to self-defense situations, what should people know about those situations when they have a CCL? What do you think people might get wrong or might have some ideas that aren't correct? Because I feel like people think, oh, I've got the CCL, self-defense, we're good, but it's more nuanced than that, I'd imagine.
It is. It is. Well, the good thing, if you're in a situation where you have a gun and you have a legal license to carry it, you're in a better situation than if you didn't. Now, that person has to be trying to shoot you. You got to remember that. It has to be reasonable force that you exert back on that person. So if someone pulls out a gun with you or make threats that like they have a gun, then if you have to use it, now we got to talk about the next step, which is where are you exactly, right? So either are you at your house? Are you at a store? Are you in your car and they're in their car, right? So those are like three different areas where we see a lot of the gun issues kind of take place. And you got to be careful where you are in each one. Illinois, similarly, not as good as Colorado, but Illinois does protect people in their homes. There is a castle doctrine, not as fantastic as Colorado's, which I wish Illinois would adopt, but they do protect the house. There is more protections there, but usually in the concealed carry, you're outside the house. So whenever you're in those situations and you see somebody getting aggressive towards you, doing those types of things, you don't have to run away. That's an important thing that people don't understand. You can stand your ground. There's no duty to retreat is what the actual jury instruction says. So where you are, if someone's making threats at you, saying they have a weapon, they're coming at you with a hammer, let's say, and they're going to hit you with a hammer, you're going to want to return fire, I would imagine.
Right. What are the implications of gun charges for those who hold a CCL, and how can these charges affect their legal rights?
So any sort of charge that you get with the CCL, you have 24 hours to turn that card in and transfer those weapons. Now, who do you transfer them to, right? And now I told you earlier, you have that issue where if you transfer them to anyone, you got to run a background check on them. So there's two options. One, transfer to somebody you know, which we tell everyone who calls with this issue. Don't not transfer them to somebody you know. There's got to be somebody you can transfer them to. Or the second one is turn them into the police department. And they said they'll give them back to you later. I don't see it ever happening. These police, anytime you try to get a weapon back, they're always making you get court orders. There's certain things that are just unbelievable type of, it's not on purpose. They just are poorly run and managed, but if you have a lot of guns, you should transfer them to somebody else that either you can liquidate with them. But if you go to the police, I just don't see them ever returning the guns for you. And it really creates problems and a headache.
How long did you say you have to turn in your card and transfer your guns?
They want you to do it immediately. So around 24, 48 hours.
Which is like, to your point, the background check part.
It doesn't make sense.
How can you possibly do that? Yeah.
How's that enforceable, right? It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
So
go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I understand that, it's funny how government works, right? It's always like maybe people's heart's in the right place or they're trying to protect people, but they never seem to figure out the right way to do it.
Yeah, Illinois has a huge problem and they're bad at passing laws to fix it, as well. You're saying there's certain areas that they're super dangerous or certain agendas that they're trying to pass, and then they get overlapping laws like this, and
right,
and then people are getting prosecuted under it.
Yeah. Well, we can do a whole series of podcasts about all the problems in Illinois, right?
No doubt about it.
What advice would you give to individuals who might be facing gun charges as it relates to their rights and the importance of legal representation?
Well, I think it's really important, if you have gun rights and you've got the licensing and you have a new case, you're going to want an attorney no matter what. And it's really important. The best part is we get calls from people and they go, oh, I have a FOID card, I have a CCL, and we know, boom, great. They don't have a background. Nothing bad's happened before. So now that's a huge variable in us trying to assess where the case is going to go and give them a prediction of what's going to happen. So if you have some sort of issue like a DUI, or if it gets into the realm where it's like a domestic issue, then we got to be careful on how we resolve the case, because that can affect those licenses.
Yeah. How does that work? Like with, either one of those, or I could see, DUI or a domestic situation. It's not like an automatic, you lose your CCL, or is it?
Yeah, they suspend it.
Okay.
And it doesn't mean you can't get it back, but if you get convicted, or if you don't know what the laws are, you could get some sort of resolution and you'll never get the licensing back. And that's where people have a tough time navigating that, because there's different types of resolutions like court supervision, or they call it conditional discharge here, which is a conviction. That's just a fancy way that they renamed it, but it's conviction. It's like, oh, I just got conditional discharge. They said it wasn't going to be a big deal. It's like, that's a conviction. Court supervision, though, that's something where it's not a conviction. You have a set period of time to meet the requirements, usually some additional fines or community service, any type of treatment, any sort of thing that the court requires you to do. You get that done, and at the end of the case, it goes away. And then you wait a set period of time, and then you can expunge it, which is a great thing in Illinois, is they'll allow you to get your name off the record, and it completely clears you. So you can reapply. It's not a problem. But doing it yourself is really hard. We kind of come in sometimes when people have tried to do it themselves or already made mistakes, and we try to fix it for them.
Are there specific legal defenses that come into play in cases involving gun charges for CCL holders?
Yeah, there's an affirmative defense of self-defense. There's necessity defense of others. Off the top of my head, that's called an affirmative defense, which means that it can, if you're found to be defending yourself, somebody in your house, or another person, that's a complete acquittal, no questions asked. But it's the biggest one everyone knows about, but it's hard, to really realize it till you're in that situation.
So you said that that's an automatic acquittal if you're found to be defending somebody that otherwise could have been harmed?
Yes, absolutely. If you see someone with committing a forcible felony against another person, you're absolutely allowed to step in. If you see somebody else like shooting at the police, you can shoot them. There's actually cases that don't make the news that much, but that we find where there's all these CCL holders in Illinois really standing up to people committing these forcible felonies and making sure that nothing bad happens in the city. I mean, what else are you going to do?
Yeah, I would be nervous just to the cops, so that the cops thought I was a bad guy too if I had the gun.
Yeah, and so a lot of the instructors tell you, if you're in these situations where you've had to discharge a firearm, is to not call the police yourself, is to go into a store or go somewhere else and have somebody else, while you're still gathering your thoughts, call the police for you. Because if you just run out of if you shoot a gun a bunch of times and then just run out of there, don't talk to anyone, they're going to think, something else could happen, or the police could arrive later and shoot you. If you still have the gun and you're out there. But disarm your firearm, put it away, go in somewhere, tell them, hey, I need you to call the police, somebody was just shot, and take it from there. And then I would then call us, obviously. But yeah, and then we'll be able to help you through there. But once you do that, you say, hey, I need you to please call the police, someone who was shot. Then once they come and talk to you, you just say, oh, I need to talk to my lawyer first. It's a self-defense issue. And then there'll be time for it. It'll get a better result than you think.
Yeah, because, especially if it's something you've never done before, I mean, presumably you could be pretty emotional, or you could be pretty shocked or whatever if you were involved in something where you shot another person. You've never done that before. So yeah, if you call the police, who knows what you're going to say? We've talked in the past about being careful what you say to police officers. So yeah, there's probably a lot that could go wrong by you calling the police right in the moment.
Absolutely. And the best part is, this information I'm talking about, it came from the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. I took all the classes with the State's Attorney's Office. They have their own CCL classes that they offer. And this is from guys that have prosecuted people that have done it wrong. They're saying, hey, go in the store, tell them to call, gather your things. It's going to take you a while. It's a huge rush. The adrenaline's pumping, and then you'll come down into like an adrenaline dump, and everything will kind of slow back down. But in that second, you're going a mile a minute. You don't realize it. Everything kind of slows down, but you're really, really at high alert.
For any Illinois gun owners who might be listening, what's the best way to stay up to date on changes to the law, on anything that's going to be changing, that's going to change their licensing or whatever?
Well, you can follow us online. We post everything as it comes out. There's also the Illinois State Police.org. It's ISP.org. That's going to be the best one for your licensing. Now, you got to make sure these things don't expire. The CCL expires. The FOID card, they're supposedly allowing extensions right now, but you just got to check, because before you know it, it's going to be expired. Then you have to do the classes all over again. If you go to a refresher within the set amount of time, you only have to do half of the CCL class, which is nice. So you just go and you come on Sunday and you requalify. It's a piece of cake.
Okay. And for anyone who might be having some issues when it comes to their license that they'd want to talk to you about, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
give us a call, 708-606-4386, or email us online at info@edwardjohnsonlaw.com. You can go to the website too. There's a little box you can click to put your questions in there, and we'll get back to you on that. Anything you can think of.
Okay. Well, great. Thanks for that, Edward. And thank you for tuning in to Not Guilty, Lawyers, Guns, and Money with Edward D. Johnson III. To connect with Edward and the team, that website again is edwardjohnsonlaw.com. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. We got lots of great stuff coming your way. Edward, great chatting with you again. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Kevin. Appreciate it.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.